So my unpopular opinion is that McGregor shouldn't return to lightweight division, even if he's been offered a title shot.
Why?
Okay.
That sounds really stupid, but
I might need a bit more than 20 seconds than the usual time. But look, so the one thing about that Conor McGregor's always been about is becoming the best of all time. Like, he cares about records. I don't think he cares about defending his belt. He just cares about the record. So if he was to come back to lightweight, get a title shot, maybe defended his belt, like, he still, in my opinion, would not be considered in the greatest of all time chat, because he hasn't done anything different than a lot of fighters have done before him. Like, yes, he was the first two-weight champion, but since then, Cejudo's been a two-weight champion, Nunes, DC, and they've actually defended their belts at both weights. So I think if McGregor wants to enter the greatest of all time chat, he really needs to stay at welterweight. And I say stay at welterweight because two of his last three fights have been at welterweight. He beat Cerrone at welterweight, and he had two fights against Nate Diaz at welterweight. So he's still, I mean, he isn't far away from a title shot because it is McGregor. Two fights, maybe a Nate Diaz trilogy, and Masvidal fight for the BMF title. And I reckon because it's Conor McGregor, he will get a title shot. And there's not been a free weight world champion. And McGregor could be the first to do that, and that will cement his place as one of the greatest of all time.
There's not been there won't be a three-weight world champion because Conor McGregor will get fucking destroyed by Kamaru Usman. So
the difference between Kamaru Usman and the difference between Kamaru Usman and Khabib is that Khabib, when he grapples, he does takedowns, whereas when Usman does grappling, he drags them against the fence and pretty much just stamps their foot for 5 rounds. So there is more opportunity for McGregor to get his strike involved against someone that's just going to grapple him against the cage compared to someone that's going to take him down and beat him on the ground.
I think you're underestimating how big Usman is compared to McGregor.
No, I'm not underestimating him, but you're also underestimating that Conor McGregor is a good grappler. Like, he has a very good defense game, like a grappling defense.
I remember when Tyron Woodley was champion of 170 and McGregor was talking shit about Woodley and saying he's going to come up and take that belt. I remember thinking there's no way that he would stand a chance against Woodley in the octagon. Now that thought process has actually aged really badly because I think Conor McGregor has a hell of a chance of beating Tyron Woodley. But that logic is now moved over to Kamaru Usman. And I do believe Kamaru Usman is just a much more complete athlete and will burn him out. And if Colby Covington, he wouldn't beat Colby Covington. He wouldn't beat, maybe he'd beat Jorge Masvidal. That's the fight. Make a super fight between them. I'm there for it. But he's got unfinished business at 155 with loads of people he's never fought. I'd love to see Gaethje. I'd love to see McGregor Gaethje.
The thing is, right, McGregor tried to get the Poirier fight at 170. I think Dana even came out and said, I don't understand the reason why they want to fight at 170. They're not even ranked at that. So you can tell that McGregor does want to stay at 170. Like, his last fight against Cerrone could easily have been a 155 because they are both lightweight in the past, but he didn't. He did it at 170. So that surely indicates that he wants to stay in the welterweight division. And I think that if he wants to become the greatest of all time, the only way he can do that is by winning that third title in 3 different classes, because there's no one that's ever done that before.
But he only wants to stay at 170 because of the weight cut. He's like, you know, when if it's not a championship fight, you can cut 1 pound over and still be okay. It's just a larger version of that. He's basically just like, hey, we're both 155ers, but let's just not cut because it kills our bodies. We'll save that for the championship thing. This is an unofficial 155 bout. He's not trying to put together wins against Cerrone to make a challenge at the 170 thing. That is a 155 fight. It just happened to be at a different weight class.
Yeah, because the difference you get is someone like, let's say, Tyron Woodley, who was fighting at 170, might be standing at 190, might be standing at 185. So, like, Conor McGregor is not going to come down up to 170 and do anything to someone who is cutting weight to get there. That's almost the issue. And someone who's cutting weight to get there, who's a lot more technically much more of a technical fighter than Nate Diaz.
Right. So my actual unpopular opinion was that I don't think he should return to lightweight division. It wasn't about whether he can win the actual fights at welterweight. Like, the point is that if he goes down to lightweight, even if he wins the belt, like he will never, if he stays that division, he's going to have 1 or 2 fights. He's going to get bored and leave again, right?
I think it's almost impossible.
I think he only has a certain number of fights in him before he gets bored and kicks up a fuss and leaves again. And if he wants to actually become one of the greatest of all time, the only way he can do that is by staying at welterweight, beating Diaz maybe. He'll be able to have the fight against Masvidal in the BMF title fight. That is obviously going to draw loads of crowds. And if he wins that fight, there's no way Dana's not going to put him in a title fight, be it against Usman, be it against Burns, whoever's the title holder at the time. And I don't know if he's going to win or lose that fight, but I think the Masvidal fight he can win. And I think he can beat the Diaz trilogy fight. So whether he can beat the title fight, I don't know, but he should stay at welterweight and get that title, and that will cement his place as the greatest, or one of the greatest of all time. In fact, I would probably put him on level with GSP. Like, you've got to be that sort of level.
No, I think he's so far. Like, yeah, okay. With Conor McGregor, he's really popular and he sells money, right? He's been handed a lot of opportunities that like other people may not have or other people may not have been given. Like, went straight from a title to another weight class, straight into a title. That's not given to a lot of people, unless they are people specifically like Conor McGregor. So you can't just make him one of the pound for pound greatest of all time, because who is he actually when against to prove that?
Can I just say, McGregor did tweet earlier that he's fighting at 155 and not 170.
Say again?
McGregor tweeted earlier that he wants to fight at 155 and not 170.
Did he actually? So my thing was, I think he should stay at welterweight, not go back down to lightweight.
Yeah.
I think there's like 3 different sort of ways to look at. The first one, the money fights are at welterweight. If Khabib retires, realistically, no one's going to sell as much money in the lightweight division as he would have done. If he stays at welterweight, the Masvidal fight would be absolutely massive, which is what he should do. But I think realistically, he'll have 1 fight at welterweight and it'll be a money fight. And I don't think he's going to go anywhere. If he drops down to lightweight, which is what he says he wants to do, he'll try and do some sort of title charge. And if he loses, he might just go up to welterweight, have 1 fight at Masvidal, take the money and go. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's got 3 money fights at welterweight. Like, he's got the Diaz trilogy, which could well be at welterweight. He's got the Masvidal fight, which could be at welterweight. And if he wins both of them, there's no reason why he won't get a title shot. And that will also be a money fight. There's 3 massive money. I understand why Dana's not going to want him to, because Khabib is by far the biggest star in the lightweight division. And now he's left, there's like a massive void of a big name in that division. And obviously McGregor will feel that. But I don't think it's in his best interest to go back down to lightweight, because if he wants to be considered greatest of all time, he needs to do something that no one else has ever done. You know, he's been defeated. He's not going to have an undefeated record like Khabib. He's not going to get 15 title defenses like someone like John Jones will be. But he can be the first to have 3 different three titles, 3 belts in 3 different weight classes.
I understand. I understand your logic. I wonder if it's more obvious for him if he was to go down to fight Poirier, get a championship belt, get the lightweight belt, and then challenge Kamaru Usman, champion versus champion, break all the pay-per-view records in the world. That seems more like the type of thing McGregor will do and be the champ again, rather than have 2 more fights at welterweight, potentially lose 1, and then be in no man's land. He's not going to take up the chance. He's not going to miss the chance of championship gold right now and become a 2-time defending champion in the lightweight division.
I think he's aware his fighting, the fact he could be the greatest of all time, that ship sort of sailed already. There's so many things he could have done if he just stayed active and did so many title defenses in either featherweight or the lightweight. If he goes up to welterweight, I think realistically he will just get absolutely smashed by Usman or whoever it may be. I think Masvidal's winnable, but again, I think he just wants the money. He's going to come back for a couple of money fights, do what he does, and then just dodge off. But I get the idea, Chris, and it's fair.
Right, what's everyone's opinion? Has he swayed any of us? I feel a little bit swayed. I understand his point. I'm actually behind Chris a little bit.
I do as well. Like, if I didn't know all these, I think I know who specifically McGregor is. I don't think he'll take any fights that he can lose. I think he can lose a Diaz fight. I don't think he'll take it.
I get the idea.
I don't think that's going to happen. So I do get the idea. But yeah, no, I want to see him that way.
I thought I had you there, winner. You seem like certain. Yeah.